Always. I don't know if I'd buy that. Let's just say I don't want to buy that from you, Mike. Always being good. That's no fun.
Gotta try, right?
Yeah, we're at that point in our lives. Almost have to behave.
We're still in the car business, though, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that matters.
Well, what's going on this weekend?
That's a good question.
Michigan and Purdue in the Big Ten championship game.
There you go. We had to go out of town for Thanksgiving, so I got Christmas tree duty on tomorrow morning. My wife says, like, you're getting out of bed and going straight to the Christmas tree farm.
So you still get a real tree?
Yeah, we cut it down.
Do you really? You go through all that hoo-ha?
Hey, man, I'm up here in Vermont. Like, you can get a 20-foot tree for $20.
True. Such a mess, though. But, if it's part of tradition, it makes sense. I get it.
For sure.
I had allergies. I had real bad allergies when I was growing up. And my parents couldn't figure out why I would be such a mess during the Christmas season. And they finally pinpointed that it was the tree. So we went to, we're probably fake trees from the age 8 on for me.
That's still a tree. Yeah. Still fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We already got ours up. My wife and daughter put it up and decorated it last weekend.
Yep. Day after Thanksgiving, we had it up. Yeah. I think as the people left, as the people left our house, I was bringing up the tree for my wife and daughter to put it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then my son and I, we got out of there.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not so lucky on that front. There you go. 5 seconds, guys. Here you go, Jeff. All right. Hello.
Talking about decorating the Christmas tree.
Yeah, and bringing in Jeff's favorite sound. So welcome back, Mike.
Alex, Jeff, thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Gotta say, we don't usually have guests on in such close succession. Usually there's a few months in there, but man, things are changing pretty fast right now.
I know. I opened up, I had been on Auto News for a while and opened it up this morning. I was going through some of the headlines. I'm like, stuff doesn't, I feel like it's something new every week around Carvana. I was reading, and there's a thread over on DealerRefresh around that. It's, they had started that third-party marketplace program where dealerships could list their vehicles on the Carvana website. And apparently what I was reading was that that program is now in question. Are you familiar with that, Mike?
Just a little bit.
Do y'all do much business with them?
Carvana, no. We do more with Vroom.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So we're free. We're free to trash on Carvana. All right. Cool.
Yeah, really. I didn't think about that. Well, they've got their own fleet of carriers, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yes.
Yeah. So
Something
I guess
tells me they're auctioning those off now.
I tell you what, I'd say prior to the last year, I would see them going, because right outside my door is one of the main roads going into our town, right off interstate. And I would see, not a tremendous amount, but definitely would see a Carvana truck go through with, with a vehicle in the back. And I'd say in the past year and a half, I'm not seeing as many. I mean, there was a point where almost 2 or 3 times a week I would see one go by. And I can't tell you now the last time I've seen one. It's possible I'm just missing them, but I doubt.
Are they, you know what they're trading at today?
I haven't looked it up.
So anyone who doesn't know, Carvana's fallen off a cliff in their share price, and we're all just waiting to see what happens next.
$7.82.
Down from 140. What? Yeah. Well, Mike, you're not here to talk about Carvana. But we are here to talk about some changes in the market and how that's affecting, not infecting, the dealer body, transportation, everything that goes along with that. And what do you want to start with? Diesel prices, interest rates?
Let's start with diesel prices.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, diesel prices have been, they went up really high there in the midsummer area, and then it seemed to start to level out a little bit, and now they're back more on the rise. I think some of it, when you look at car hauling, it comes down to supply and demand. So I mean, if there's tons of supply out there, I mean, the diesel, when there's tons of supply out there, sometimes the diesel price doesn't affect things as much. But when there's not as much supply, I mean, then then the diesel prices can play a huge factor. So I mean, we're definitely seeing, where diesel has been affecting our customers and have been infecting our carriers as well. So I mean, if it continues, yeah, I mean, with the holidays coming on top of it, we could definitely see some more, price increases here as we close the year.
Yeah. So I know I'm in one of the states where diesel is the highest. I think there's 3 states where it's over $6 or.
Is it really that much?
Oh yeah. It's like $6.55.
Wow.
And I sometimes wonder if, and I learned this when I had my, I got my truck, because it's very susceptible to cold as an older pickup truck. And, so I got to go through and do a little additives to it every tank and whatnot. But come to find out from some of the fuel suppliers here, we get a lot of our diesel specifically from Canada, because they have additives in there that stop it from gelling when it gets into the zeros. And yeah,
I thought we had that here in the States now.
Maybe. I mean, we'd have to. There's plenty of states that have super cold weather that would affect, diesels.
I remember, I think it was early 2000s. I thought they made some type of change around that, because I was selling Volkswagen diesels, and if I could recall correctly, there was some type of change at that moment or during that time frame where they were making a lot of different adjustments or additives to the diesel.
Yeah,
we actually sold quite a few diesel Volkswagens back then. Actually converted, because there was a while there that we didn't have a lot of gasoline for whatever reason, like supply chain or something, but we had a ton of diesels coming in. I was converting people from gas to diesel left and right. And I tell you, most of the stories that came back, people were like glad. All the negative stories was when someone accidentally put normal gas in their diesel by accident.
We've got 5 motor vehicles in our driveway, 3 cars and 2 tractors. Live out in the country.
Fleet.
Yeah, fleet. So redneck fleet. But only one vehicle is regular gas. So we're definitely feeling the increased diesel prices.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you ever hear from the anybody really complaining about it directly, Mike? Or
No, I mean, I think that it's pretty much settled in that gas prices are high. So I mean, no, not tons. We don't hear tons of complaints. On the sales side, I'm sure our operators might.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, had heard that there was a I don't know what to call it, a trucking company, not Montway, but one that actually who owns the trucks and pays the drivers directly, and they were having to do a like a 5 cent cut on the per mileage payout to their drivers,
Hmm.
which because of the increase in diesel and whatnot, and just couldn't make a profit. And it was equating to like up to $600 a week for some drivers.
Oh wow.
Just, yeah,
That's a
ouch.
big jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially going into the holiday season, like you were talking about. And what changes can people expect during the holiday season when it comes to transportation?
Sure. So I mean, yeah, the 2 weeks, the week after Christmas and the first week of the year, I always like to call them. They're the toughest in the car hauling industry. And I mean, for a good reason, though. I mean, the drivers do get a chance to spend time with their families, get off the road for a couple weeks. And I mean, it's a tough job, right? And I mean, ultimately, they want to spend some time at home. Our business doesn't stop. A lot of people sell a lot of cars around the last half of the year or the last part of the year. And what ends up happening is that there ends up being a backlog. So the supply has a dramatic increase in those 2 weeks, and it pushes rates up, it pushes delays in delivery. So I mean, the biggest thing, like, from a transport perspective that we can tell customers is that yes, there's going to be delays during the holidays. Yes, the rates will be a little higher. We'll get the cars there, when as the drivers start to come back around that second week of January. um, it's just going to take loger than it normally does. It's never a great way to start a year, but I've been doing this for 8 years, and every year it seems to happen. And then if you're in the Northeast or the Midwest, and we get a big nor'easter in the Northeast, or you get a lot of heavy snow in the Midwest, and that supply is already up there, then it causes even
Oh,
more supply. And I've seen
that's
it where it's been a long time since we've had like a real bad winter, but it can last the entire month of January if the winter hits into it, especially more regional at that point in the Midwest and the Northeast.
yeah. I can
So
only
the
imagine the
NADA and
setback on that.
yeah, I always think of this because being up here in the north and going to NADA, which is always January, February. Um, it's usually a bunch of delays trying to get there and back. And this year, at least, it's in Dallas, so maybe
How many
You guys
irate
going? You
customers?
guys going to be going?
I'll be
Are
there.
you guys? Oh, Montway will be there as well.
Well, I'm going to come shake your hand then,
That sounds good.
depending
How
on how
many
this
do you
show
get?
goes.
Do you get any irate customers that want the vehicle delivered on Christmas Day?
Um, to
I'm
answer your
sure you
question,
do.
yes. I mean, I've always told my people try not to do the Christmas Day delivery.
Yeah.
It's not fair. I mean, it's not fair for the driver. It's not fair for the customer. It's really hard to hit that. Really hard. But
But I'm
yes,
sure
we do.
there's some out there that request it or at least try to
They're
go
all in
for
Beverly Hills.
it.
Hmm.
Yeah. You would think people would have a little bit better understanding, but when you're dealing with the general public, you quickly find out that's not the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, just in general, I mean, people think that there's a car hauler right around the corner from your house, and they're ready to, like, hey, car's ready, and it's kind of like a FedEx package, right? You just get it picked up, you get it dropped off, no problem. I mean, it just doesn't work.
What's the
Doesn't quite
difference?
work that seamless. We're trying to get it there, though.
What
So,
are go ahead,
Joe.
Alex.
I was going to say, for dealers who are setting things up right now, so the advice is to just tell their customers, set the expectation of January delivery if they're setting something up in December. Any other expectation settings the dealer should be doing?
Yeah, in terms of the holiday season, I mean, no, and I mean, just the communication is key, and that I've always found, with our salespeople or account managers that have relationships with dealers. I mean, obviously, if a dealer's in Texas and there's no hailstorm or ice storm, then yeah, I mean, it's going to be business as usual, right? But if that dealer in Texas, sold a car to someone in Boston or New York, then yeah, there's the potential for delays. So a lot has to depend on the geography of where you live and then the lane that the particular unit might be traveling. And at that point, just having that clear communication with your transport company, on where it's going, and them having the communication and the transparency with the dealership to be able to tell them, hey, there's going to be weather on this route. We were hoping to get it there Thursday. Now it looks like it's going to come, be there on Friday or Saturday or whatever the case may be. And I mean, if you do that and you deliver that type of service, I think both the dealer customer from our perspective and then the dealership's end customer will at least be happy, at the end of the day that the car is going to get there safely.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. The question from Ryan Everson here. He's asking if any dealer groups that have brought their transportation services in house. And the backside to this, I was just thinking, is could you all power that software for any dealer groups who did do that? Help them with their logistics.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for a lot of local runs and, just being a regional, I know a lot of dealers that have their own trucks or have gone and bought their own assets or just frankly manage drivers to go get the cars. And I mean, it can make sense. Our sister company, Ship.Cars, has a transportation management platform where you can load up your own trucks into that platform, get the visibility for your drivers, be able to dispatch, be able to hold the bill of ladings, have them be able to take pictures, through an ePod app or an electronic proof of delivery app. It also has a component that's coming where you can actually manage your fleet of drivers. If you're a dealership and you had your own drivers, on your payroll or whatever the case may be, that you can also, dispatch and get the visibility and keep it organized, right? I mean, I think ultimately the purpose of the TMS or what we call LoadMate, the purpose of that program is to be a TMS system that can either power the smaller businesses or the larger businesses, and it's designed to do that. I kind of look at it as, industry term. It's very similar to auto IMS, for transportation. Externally, it's almost like a Salesforce type kind of instance for being able to organize your inventory and from a transportation perspective, that is. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, it can. I mean, if people are interested in that, they can contact you guys, and I'll get them in touch with Ship.Cars to be able to give them a demo and show them what it looks like. It's some really slick technology and can definitely help it keep organized, control costs, and kind of see where it is.
I saw Ship.Cars a few months ago, and if I recall, don't they have a customer interface as well, so they can track where their car's at? And
Yep.
yeah,
So I mean, that's
nice.
that's one of the luxuries, and I think that to the person that's sending the questions point is when dealer groups do go to that more of the in-house model, and buying their own trucks, having a secondary company like Montway is also can be really key because I mean, as we look at buying cars, sometimes you're going to want to buy cars. You could be in New York and want to buy some cars in Arizona. Um, you're not going to send your own trucks all the way across the country. I mean, financially, it wouldn't work unless you had a load going out there and a load coming back.
Or your name's
Um,
Penske.
yeah, true. So, I mean, from that standpoint, having that, what we call managed service, which is what Montway is, having that second provider to be able to back it up and still give your used car managers the ability to buy cars wherever they want. And really the local runs and the regional runs you leave in your own fleet. I mean, it can make for a deadly combination. I mean, it opens up all the avenues of transportation and buying.
It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys the first or only provider that has that type of software for dealerships?
No, we're not the only one, but we're
Okay.
definitely probably one of the first. There's a couple of us out there.
Okay.
I mean, I think that you can do your research, do your research. Obviously, see multiple vendors, and and then just pick the best product. But what I like about ours is the front end user interface is really interactive. I mean, it has a chat message built in there where the person handling the logistics at the dealership can just chat right through the platform with the driver, whether it's
nice.
a company driver or an external driver.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, especially for any larger or smaller dealer groups. Be able to have that option to have it in house, and then also be able to outsource, whatever aspects that you need to jump on.
And for sure, I mean that's what our hope of the product is, or the offering is. That I mean, we're really trying as a parent company. We're trying to make sure that we have a transportation solution, for however you want to do business. If you want to handle it in house, we have our solution, with our sister company Ship.Cars. If you want a mix, you can do a mix between Ship.Cars, Montway, or any other vendor out there. I mean, ultimately, I mean, you just today, no one's going to and not very many people want to put all their eggs in one basket with one transportation provider. They want to have some diversification. And I mean, that's what this multi-vendor platform in essence allows you to do. And it's actually pretty cool.
Sounds like you and Ryan are on the same page there. Yep. If you don't know Ryan, he's pretty sharp. He's over at Gerber or Garber.
Oh,
yep.
Garber.
Gerber's
not the baby food. Sorry.
They're a small dealer group, right?
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yeah.
I think 1 or 2 stores. Yeah. Yep. So we were going to talk about interest rates also being an impact on what's happening in the car hauling industry right now. And obviously it's having an impact on the dealership lots right now too. But why don't we start with your neck of the woods, Mike, and what's happening on that front?
For sure. So, I mean, with the interest rates rising, I mean, I think that ultimately, we're going to get back into, going back to my retail days, we're going to get back into where payment is going to be really important, especially on the used car side. I mean, we were talking before the show, Alex, that, that dealers are starting to have a supply of new cars on their lot for the first time in 2 years. And I mean, with interest rates rising, payment again is going to become one of those focal points like it was however many years ago. But, back then we had Ford Focuses and, smaller compact cars that were payment driven cars. Today, we don't have a lot of those cars that are out there. So like from our perspective, when I watch the market, my thinking is that dealers are going to go have to source inventory, and instead of buying the 1-2-year-old car, might have to start looking for that 4 or 5-year-old car. And what does that mean? I think that means that dealers are going to be more at a lot of independent auctions, because that's typically, where they have the most 4 or 5-year-old cars, and a lot of consumer buys. So from our perspective is that, your reach for your logistics or your supply chain is going to have to increase again. You're going to have to be willing to buy cars. If I was a dealer in Detroit and I had to buy a 4 or 5-year-old car, I'd probably be more inclined to go to Texas or Arizona or one of the sunshine states to buy that car, in hopes that, I'm getting a car that has less rust or whatever the case may be. And if I can, I need to have that transportation and logistics set up to get that car back to me. And I mean, and what's nice about that is, those cars, although they do depreciate, it's usually a unique piece that you can put on your lot. So the days to sell are usually pretty quick. So even if I have to wait an extra couple days to get the car from the other side of the country, I could still keep that car, underneath, that 30-day term that everyone likes to be at.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
I work.
Florida or Texas pickup truck up here in Vermont. Yep.
We called them Florida cars. I worked for a small group, and I guess the buyer at the time, I wasn't involved with that part of the operation, but they would go down to Florida somewhere and purchase quite a few, and then we would ship them back here to Maryland. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, actually in the stock number they would put FL, so we all knew it was a Florida car. And we always knew they were, for whatever reason, they were always in great shape and well taken care of and low mileage. And it was a selling point for those vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So to your point on the payments, we're seeing it. Like you've got right now, dealers are still sitting on cars that they might have bought a month or two ago, as the used car market's on the decline right now. At least the values are dropping, and it's tough to stomach right now. Where you might have, say, you're trying to sell a Camry, for example, $30,000, right? To $30,000 car payment is, what is that, $700 a month or so.
About that.
So that's at like a 5% interest rate. So now that you've got used car interest rates going into the teens, where I think in October the average was 9%, it's still climbing. We're past November. I haven't heard what the averages were for November yet, but I assume they're up above 9%. So I'm thinking teens. So now you're talking about an $800 or $900 a month Camry. You're buying a used one, and yeah, that's hard to swallow.
It's hard to swallow, but I'll go back to the late '90s, early 2000s. That was the average rate.
Yeah, but Jeff, what was the average price of a car in the 90s?
Well,
we were selling
right.
cars back then, but that was the rate. But it was, you were selling a sub $20,000 vehicle.
Very true. Yeah, you could get a decent Volkswagen Jetta for 17,000, 18,000.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's going to be
good luck with that now.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's the retail price of the car and now the interest rate are way different than they probably ever have been. I mean, just because of, what the consumers have wanted. I mean, it's trucks, SUVs, and I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see like how payment comes into play, because $800, $900 payment is, where things are right now. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all.
I think that is the average payment right now, by the way, if that's what you were saying. It's just crazy. Because back in the 90s when we started selling cars, I think the average payment was like $250. 200,
around 350. Yeah. Times have changed. Well, and too,
well,
they're
60-month financing was like crazy long then too.
Oh, that's true too.
It's like you don't go past 48 or you're crazy.
Yep. And then of course there's the push for EVs, and they come at a premium as well.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Will we ever see a cheap EV that's affordable in the $400 to $500 a month range.
Oh, that's happening.
Financed at 60 months, not 72.
That's happening. So, I mean, if you're Tesla, like the competition is starting to get fierce here. So Tesla's gone from what 80 to 65% to now 20% of the EV or all EV purchases. So I mean, they're not losing sales here, but they're losing market share. And what else is going to happen is as you get Nissans and Toyotas and Hondas, or maybe not Toyota, because I think they said they were going to play the EV game, but you get Fords and whatnot who are going to produce an EV that's sub $30,000, for example. Tesla's been struggling to get a Model 3 up and going. So that's supposed to be their inexpensive one. And Tesla also is now having to become car dealers, traditional car dealers with actually selling in showrooms because they're not able to just do the online purchase, no negotiation, and all the kind of stuff that they've had because now they've got competition. So it'd be fun to watch.
Do they have dealerships?
So they are trying to open them now.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yep. It's been the people who are watching it are all looking at the OEM saying, I know you want that model, but hey, it's not working. So
that's funny.
Yeah. So
you guys should, Mike, maybe should tweet Elon, see if you can become their dedicated carrier for their dealerships.
We'll give it a whirl.
So yeah, the other thing that's starting to rear its ugly head is the gross profit per vehicle sold. So, as that's beginning to come down, it was interesting thing came to my attention the other day. It's like, and I didn't think about this. I mean, we knew that the industry was going to normalize. We knew customers were going to come back and start negotiating. And the part that I didn't even think about was the grosses that sales managers are now used to, so $5,000 front ends all day long. The customer is not willing to do it. But now the dealers or sales managers are turning down deals that are like $3,000 front ends or $2,000 front ends that, 2 years ago we would have taken all day long and been jumping up and down excited about. Now they're like, I ain't doing that because now my commission's going to get hurt. So you've got management groups in the dealerships that can afford to do this are now having to do inventory write-downs to keep up with the adjusting market prices, but also to try and make sure that their sales managers are okaying the deals that they should be taking. I wonder how long they're going to put up with that before.
I don't know.
There's so many cascading things from this crazy market where we've been in for the last 2 years are starting to come up.
Yeah, I mean, I think from like a transport perspective, I mean, when we look at what we can do, to help. I mean, there's not a lot we can do in that regard, except for, hey, can we be quicker? Are we going to be able to save time? And then, in essence, can we save some type of money? And that's one of the things that, we're looking at as a logistics and a supply chain partner to dealerships is, is there a way, when we look at things, is there a way we can get those cars there even quicker so those days to recon aren't as high? I mean, I know from the days of working in dealerships, for myself, I mean, the clock starts the day you buy the car. I mean, it's whether it's on your floor plan or you wrote a check, I mean, you own that car at that point. And then, once you get it back from transport, it's going to take another 5-6 days to get it through the shop, possibly, depending on how quick your shop is and, how busy they are. and then you get it out on the lot. I mean, you're basically at like day 12, day 13 already, and you want to sell that thing, in the next 17 days before day 30 hits. So, like
Yeah.
from our perspective is just understanding that's how our customers do business, right? That's the first thing that's really important when you're looking at a transport company. Do they really get it? And I think that's one of the things that here at Montway that we get. So how do we improve it? I mean, having the ability to make sure that through our map program where we can give the dealers visibility on when the car is going to come in. Can they schedule that recon schedule better, knowing the estimated ETA? Would that help? Having the ability to buy cars wherever they want and get them in quicker, would that help? Does that save that time, and does it save that money? And I mean, that's kind of, I guess if there was a value prop that, we could offer dealers, I mean, ultimately it's, hey, we're going to give you a transparent process that's going to be able to save you time and money. And, that's what our goal is. And then we're going to give you the tools where you can actually see and run reports on, hey, when did you send us the order and when did we get it to you? And how quick were we? And, that's one of the nice things. If you go to a LoadMate Pro where it's a multi-vendor, you can actually do that with all your vendors. So you can almost have your own scorecard to say, hey, who's giving me the best service? Who's saving me the most time?
And that is the software piece that you're referring to has all those capabilities, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, that's strong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got to come up with a nice little moniker for it. Like, what was V Autos? They had something about, increasing turn rate. It is escaping me right now, but if you guys,
we should both know that.
Yeah. What's your, you got ROI. What's your TOI or, turn, who knows?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I mean, one of the things that as we talk to more, I guess, controllers or, people that really look at the money in the dealership world, the operators, right? You'll find that to surprise, not a lot of people pay attention to their transportation expense. And I think that's probably because it's built into the car deal, right? It's just kind of a cost of doing business. I mean, you just had to do it. But when you actually look at it and you pull it out, and look at it as a cost center, you're able, are you able to, whether it's centralized that transportation, if you're in a multi-rooftops group, how much time are the used car managers spending dealing with transports? Where they could be out there putting deals together, buying more cars, training and developing people, or whatever whatever else they do, right? So I mean, centralizing it, looking at it as just a cost center outside of the quote unquote car deal, are you able to really reduce costs by centralizing? And I think that's kind of our TOI, right? What's the return on transportation return, or whatever it's called.
It's your Troy transportation return on investment. There you
go. Ultimately, that's kind of what we're doing right now. Is we're looking at the multi-rooftop groups. I don't care if it's 2 rooftops or 100 rooftops, but can we look at the cost of what the transportation spend is, and how can we save cost, and most importantly, save time, that could, in essence, lead to more revenue or more profit.
I don't think anyone could disagree with anything you said there. Like, can't say no to that.
No. I never even considered, because like you said, usually that's just part of, cost of the sale. Don't really think about breaking that out.
I mean, it's the same with V Auto, to bring them up again. Like, we never really considered the way used cars were priced before Dale Pollock came and pointed out to us that there was a way of doing it with data. Before it was like, I'm just going to do an arbitrary $4,000 markup on any car that's been on my lot for 30 days or less. And then maybe once I hit 80 days, I'll start to bring that that price down significantly. But Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
just inspired by the wholesale loss of that month. But um, yeah,
That and the
that
days in stock.
yeah, hmm, I like that.
When yeah, when you guys are, you said it was the sister company has the software piece, but when you're marrying that up with your guys' process, have you had any other like things that really stick out? You're like, oh, never even considered that, that's really been able to have some type of profound effect on logistics and maybe bottom line.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, from the standpoint of when you start to get more visibility and density in where you see cars, you can look at like load optimization, and you can look at things like load optimization, meaning combining more cars into one. Because I mean,
Hmm.
through the pandemic, we really saw it wasn't about the full load business. Everything pre-pandemic was full loads, full loads, full loads, but probably because of programs like Auto, I mean, it will tell you that, hey, you need to go buy this car because it has the right miles, it's the right color, and its turn's going to be much quicker, and no one else has one that's like it within 50 miles or 100 miles. At that point, now it becomes about moving that one car that you need for your lot. But that also creates more, in essence, orders out there in the transportation universe. So then that time to get that car there also plays a factor into it. But the more and more that you get of these type of orders as a transport company, you can look at consolidating loads. You can look at optimizing spots on trucks, and I mean that's the behind the scenes things that transport companies like Montway we continue to try to work on to maximize that. And frankly, it can drive the price down more as well.
So
Makes
it'd be
sense.
like I'm getting one car from Texas up to Vermont, and along the way, if you're going up, you're going to hit 81, for example, to come up the coast, and you're probably going to maybe be able to hit Mannheim and pick up some other cars for another Vermont dealer, even a New York dealer, and yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
yep, yep.
How do you deal with that on a logistics standpoint? So, you've got a car in Florida that you purchased. It's, Viata told you this is the vehicle you need to have. Your dealership's in Maryland. And so, contact Montway. They go down, they're picking up the car. And you just so happen to buy another one that's in between Florida and Maryland. Does the dealership have the ability to sort of reach out and contact that carrier to maybe swing by and pick up that vehicle, or is that not doesn't make sense to do it that way?
It can. I mean, the dealership would, in that particular case, because it was Montway, would reach out to Montway, say, "Hey, we got
Okay.
another one." And if our operations team knew that carrier was going to that store, which they would, and they had an
Hmm.
open spot on their truck and it was on the route, sure, absolutely. They could come and
Okay.
pick it up, or it just generates a new order, and we'll just move that as well.
Just start over. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think it was the last time we had you on. I was like, I didn't realize how much went in to all this. Even being in the business for that many years, I just never considered all the different variables that are involved.
Oh yeah, I mean, I did logistics for a rental car company when I
Okay.
was wholesaling cars, and we would send out a lot of cars to different dealers and other groups. And the one thing that you always find is oh hey, truck broke down, or this happened, and I used to just think, hey, these are just excuses. Let's go find another company, right? I mean, that was the mentality. But then when being in this for 8 years, you learned real quick. Yeah, it really
Yeah.
happens. I mean, one hydraulic line, your I mean, your
Done.
truck's down. I
Yeah.
mean, cars get trapped. If something mechanically breaks, that car's trapped down there. There's no way to get it down until it's fixed. So I mean, these things that think as an outsider, or just as that end customer that you think are just, oh man, they're just, they just don't have a truck or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
They happen every day. They do.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't have patience.
You got any crazy stories along that front? Like, what's one of the wildest things that's happened that's taken a truck down?
That's taken a truck down.
Or created havoc within your team?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, you can go and you can YouTube the bridge hits. I mean, those things stink, and hopefully the driver's okay. But sometimes,
what's a bridge hit?
That's when the cars are on the top rack and the bridge clearance. They don't quite make it.
Oh,
yeah.
That would suck.
Oh yeah. No, there's some things that happen, but for the most part, at the end of the day, 90% of the things move seamlessly. It's the 10%, right? And no matter what industry you're in, I think we always forget we're always working in that 10% of what, in essence, are the problems, and we're trying to solve those. And sometimes those 10% of problems get solved really nicely. Sometimes they're a little more challenging. But at the end of the day, I always tell my people, hey, we always got to remember that 90% goes really well. And we got to remind our customers of that, and the one thing as a transport company you can't do is when you're late, don't avoid the phone call. Pick it up, take your medicine, and odds are it will be okay. Used car, typically you're talking to a used car manager. He has a deal on that car, and he's going to be a little fired up because, hey, it's not going to be there, because he doesn't want to lose that deal. The salesman doesn't want to lose that deal. And, they're going to have some words with you, and, but if you pick up the phone and you tell them, they're going to respect that. Because at the end of the day, they understand, but you just got to take that first call.
Who's in charge of that phone call? Is it the carrier themselves, or does Montway do that on behalf?
So, our setup is that, we deal with the carrier. We don't have dealerships deal with the carrier. We're a one point of contact, right? So no matter if you have 10 cars with me or 50 cars with me, your account rep for your store, they're going to know what's going on with all 50 cars. They're going to be able to tell you. So it's just a one-stop phone call, and you don't have to worry about, 10, 15 different quote unquote carriers and what they're doing. Let us worry about that for you. And then that way you only have that one person, or or you have that one throat to choke, I guess, at the end of the day.
Mike, you totally turned me on to something new. I just YouTubed bridge hits. I think I maybe keep myself entertained here this evening. Obviously we're all aware of them, but I didn't realize there was like a term, bridge hits, for those. Yeah. Just going through some of the quick videos here. Looks pretty fun.
The other one is, we've got a road called the Notch. It goes between two ski resorts, so Smuggler's Notch and Stowe. And it's an awesome road, but it goes up to through Mount Mansfield, which is one of the biggest mountains in New England. And you cannot take a truck through there, like, ever. And there's signs and all sorts of stuff, and they fine you and whatnot. But if you get a truck in there, it's going to jackknife. It's just going to get stuck between the rocks. And but the navigation systems don't show it that way. It looks like a phenomenal shortcut. I don't know, how often does that kind of thing happen?
More weather related, but anytime you're going in West Virginia, is a prime place. It's a tough place for drivers to go, right? Any time that the weather comes into play, it can be really difficult. And at the end of the day, we just want them to be safe, right? We want them to be safe and make sure that they do everything they can to keep themselves safe, because it can be dangerous. That's for sure.
It's West Virginia. You don't want to make a wrong turn.
That's Jeff's backyard.
I mean, I think it's one of those things, that I always, when we're out visiting dealers face to face, I always tell my people, hey, if you see a car hauler out there, go out there and shake their hand and just say thank you. I don't care if they're working for us or they're working for someone else. I mean, there's one time I was in Arizona, and I think it was June or July, 150 degrees. I mean, the guy is in full gloves, like it's winter. And the reason why is because that equipment's metal. It is so hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, guys just dripping. I mean, bring them out a thing of water. I mean, it's just appreciated, right? I mean,
That's a good point.
from these standpoint, I mean, we need these guys as an industry. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, they are a backbone that I think that people forget about. And I mean, ultimately, they are our supply chain. I mean, that's what gets your inventory to you, so you can make the money that you make. And I mean, if just the little things you can do, for a driver, I think go a long way as well. I mean, it stinks when like it's sub-zero temperatures, and I get, hey, not everyone wants them to come and warm up in the showroom or whatever the case. But I mean, if there's a place in the dealership you can let them in for a little bit, let them in for a little bit.
Give them some coffee.
Bring them some coffee.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It's often overlooked. You don't think about that backbone.
Also, just in driving, I didn't realize it, but I drove a big RV once, just around the street. It's like, okay, I get it now. These things need a wide turning berth. That now I sit back and like let the trucks and everybody have that 2 lanes. Whatever you need to do to get through that turn or that whatever it might be.
I guess that's why they have a specific license.
Well, I mean, when I started in the industry, I wanted to know what it was like. So I went down to a driver training and racked a minivan up on the top rack. Took me about 4 times because I went up and I went down. I went up and I went down the ramp. Finally got it, put it in the 10 position, which is over the cab. And then they're like, "You're going to bring it back down?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." Well, that means you got to get out. So, I ended up climbing out and looked down, and I was like, "Oh, wow." Because I mean, it's a tough gig, man. It's a tough gig.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, definitely have some appreciation. And speaking of appreciation, going back something we were talking about a minute ago, and your people, you got to remind them that 90% of the time things are going well. And y'all are in the software business too, and people in the software business have a tendency to focus on what we call the 2% situation, that you can never solve for. But that's just to keep in mind, that's the sign of a good person who's trying to do well. When they software developers who are just stuck on those 1% and 2% kind of things that.
Alex, we don't feel sorry for you. Quit giving us a pity party.
I'm not talking about
seriously.
Me. I'm the one who's like, guys, 80%.
They're trying to relate logistics into software development because someone hurt his feelings this morning. Nice job.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Now I'm all hurt again.
I'll send you a hug later on.
Anyway, Mike, you got some developers around there. You know that they're just good people. It gets frustrating when they do that stuff.
Go give them a hug on behalf of Alex. All right.
Yeah. So, Mike, is there anything else you wanted to touch on today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered the gamut. I mean, it was pretty good. I appreciate the time.
Well, hopefully we don't have to have you on again so soon, because the market's just going so fast with things like rising gas prices and interest rates, changing the way the world works.
For sure. I mean, we'll see what happens in the new year. It should be interesting.
Yeah, we're predicting some normalcy, at least, or a plateau here, let's say, next year, where things won't be so drastic for everybody.
That would be
Fingers
nice to see.
crossed. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Mike, if anyone wants more information on Montway or any of your other, maybe someone's got a question around the software piece you were referring to, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
I mean, they can email me directly, at mike.trudeau@montway.com. I'd be more than happy to contact them. Also, LinkedIn is always a good tool, and they can also, they're on our website. If you go under the enterprise suite, there's a contact us form, and at montway.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll get a recording of this over in the forums as soon as it's finished up. And man, we always appreciate you joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Always.
Yeah, man. Have a great holiday.
You as well.
See you, Mike.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.